Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about the possibility for some upcoming major snowstorms here as we head through the month of October. We're going to be taking a look at some of the models and which ones are forecasting the potential that we could see some winter storms here trek across the United States during the month of October. So basically heading into the next couple of weeks here, maybe through the end of this month, there is that heightened possibility. But before we get started here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon. Of course, it has come to my understanding that a whopping 97% of you watching are not subscribed. So I do highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any more future weather-related content. And we're going to go ahead and get right into the video here. All right, so we're going to start off today's video here by talking about some of these oscillations here. So, one of my recent videos, we did talk about this, right? The different oscillations that we have and how they relate to the weather that we see across the United States. So this is our first one that we're taking a look at here is going to be the PNA, right? And the PNA basically means that when it's in a positive phase, we generally have a warmer western United States and a colder eastern United States. And as you can see, for the past at least week or so, it has been in that positive phase, right? And it could stay that way over the next few days, although possibly starting to descend maybe into more of a more negative phase as these ensemble models are showing here. And it does go up and down over time. You can see it, especially over the past few months, up, down, up, down. That's how these oscillations, naturally progress. Right, so that's our PNA, of course. In one of my recent videos, again, I'll have it probably linked up in the top right, where I did talk about more of these oscillations that can affect our weather. I talked about them more in depth there. The Arctic oscillation, this one, when it's in a negative phase, it can spell, again, the same thing, warmer west and a colder east. And of course, when it's the opposite is true, or the inverse, right? So negative phase is what it's in right now, but could be heading back up towards maybe the neutral, right? That kind of like that zero line over the next week or so. And if we take a look at the North Atlantic oscillation, you can see also in a negative phase, but could stay that way for a little bit longer. Right, maybe even over the next couple of weeks or so, we could still be staying in that negative phase. So we're going to get into the models here. We're going to get into which models are forecasting the potential for a snowstorm and what kind of totals are they predicting. So we got a few. The first one we're going to start off with here is the GFS model. And as you can see, as we take it out all the way through about a week out or so, even as early as about 6 days out, you can start to see a low pressure system forming over the Midwest and hitting into the interior Northeast. Now, where this low goes, how everything sets up is going to determine what happens. And just a little hint, this is not the only storm that we're going to be looking at here. So you might have seen this recently developing in the models, right? Some big coastal storm that could start deepening and strengthening, bringing a wall of rain into the Northeast and even the Mid-Atlantic as well, right? But you can also see some high pressure that's building to the north here, right? Kind of like in Canada. We got one parked over the Midwest and one over the Gulf, right? It's like a whole little army of them. But the high pressure, especially one to the north, is going to be sending down, as you can see by that dotted blue line, some colder air. Now it's commonly referred to in meteorology as the 540 line. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it can serve as a good indicator of our rain-snow line. Like if you're north of that line, you could see snow. You are cold enough, typically, when you're above that line to the north of it, you are cold enough to see snow. And watch as it advances to the south, kind of behind the storm system, right? But how you can kind of see how it does kind of plunge a little bit, right? You can see, so some snow could form on the backside of the low pressure system. The question is where and how much. We could even see some lake effect if it occurs, for example, during the night. That would obviously increase the odds for some snowfall. And you can see that we do see snowfall breaking out on the GFS front here across northern parts of New York State. This is next Sunday. This is pretty much a week from today here. And you can see that continues, right? Look at the late afternoon. This is next Sunday, the late afternoon. You can see a mix of rain and snow through the Northeast. Most of these mountain regions, but some of these, are actually getting down to the surface here. Right? You can see by the time we head to the Monday after tomorrow, right? This is the next Monday. You can see again some more widespread snowfall breaking out from Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, even down into southern central portions of New York, and that continues into early Monday, right? Due to those colder temperatures, the snow is able to stick around, and that storm kind of departs by later in Monday. We do also have to watch this low pressure system that another model that I will show later will pick up on. This low pressure system that kind of moves off to the north here, kind kind of to the northeast into Canada, bring some snow. But aha, look what kind of happens here. You can sort of see some banding of snow across Nebraska and South Dakota. I can't believe we're talking about this already. It's mid-October, like it's crazy. But late October, we do start to see some storms forming here. That is how a lot of winters do go here. And you can even see a little bit of snow. This is getting pretty far out at this point, but still. And GFS has been kind of consistent with this. We could see some snow forming in the north central as well. It's another area to watch. You can see abundance of cold air by these dotted blue lines. That high pressure part in Canada is helping to send that cold air down to the south. Maybe even some severe weather. Looks like they got a Gulf low forming. Could throw some moisture. High pressure could throw some cold air. Maybe some heavy rain and snow setting up along this boundary here. But again, this is like 300 hours out. This is a long ways out, but that's just an idea of what we could be dealing with here. Right, so this is just over the next 10 days. You can see for the northeast, mostly about 1 to 3 inches, but in like northern New York and northern New Hampshire, totals could even exceed like 4 or 5 inches of snowfall. And this is the more accurate snow to liquid ratio, the Kuchera ratio. So we could see a total as high as maybe 4 to 6 inches breaking out there across the northeast. And if we look towards the north central, you glance a little bit to the left side of your screen, and you can see snowfall, of course, in the Intermountain West and the Rockies, but also maybe over the northern plains. You can start to see some snow breaking out. So these are just some things to watch, right? And we could be dealing with, again, some snowstorms on our hands as we head through the next couple of weeks and even into the winter as well. All right, so let's look at the Canadian model. All right, you can see, again, if we take a look and we go out through next weekend, you can see, boom, you can kind of see that low pressure system deepening. Now, notice here, it's parked off a little bit further east. The track of this low is going to really matter here. And I'll show you why right now. Notice on the GFS, so it's kind of more over here. But now that the low is positioned further to the east, notice that 540 line now. Aha, it has dipped a lot further south and a lot further east. So now you're already starting to see, because of that, places like northern New York, it's very hard to see, I will admit, but so I'll zoom in a lot here. You can see a little bit of blue. We're starting to see some snow there breaking out across the mountainous regions there in northern New York, because that low is further east. And when that low is further east, it's allowing more cold air to be pulled in further to the east. Right? Because again, low does have a counterclockwise flow. Right? And this is, mind you, this is in the afternoon, like the warmest time of the day usually, right? So that's really saying something there. Then the low moves up in the main, and we still see a mix of rain and snow, kind of like what the GFS was showing. Maybe actually a little bit less snow than what the GFS was showing, but you can definitely see that there is more of an abundance of cold air available, that's for sure. Especially, and then of course in the storm leads, we get even bigger surge there of colder air. All right, and then the next low kind of moves up from southwest to northeast there over the plains. So the Canadian model, again, a little bit more sporadic, I would say, but still 1 to 3 inches, a quick little burst of snow as possible across the northeast, and maybe a little bit higher mountainous regions, but even again in those lower, even lower in the elevation, we can still see the possibility for some snowflakes. All right, let's take a look at the European model here, the 12Z model run of the European model. You can see they are now starting to pick up on this. They weren't earlier on the other model run. They are now. Look how far off the coast the low is here. Right, 993 millibars. It's off the mid-Atlantic coast here. But you can see it definitely does move a bit further inland. And we also don't have as much of a presence of a high pressure system that the other models were showing here up to the north that's able to disperse that cold air southward. We don't really see as much of that here. So because that high pressure isn't set up, even though the low is arguably a little bit further east here as well, because that cold air isn't really, the high pressure isn't there, cold air cannot really be supplied to the northeast, and it pretty much just stays a rain event here. So that's what the European is showing, even for the mountainous regions in the northeast. This is a little bit different than the other two. Because again, the lack of high pressure, clockwise flow would have been able to provide some colder air, but sadly, I mean, if you're a snow lover, sadly, that doesn't seem to be the case. As of right now, again, this is like a week out, so this could certainly change. So really no snowfall here unless if you zoom in real close to big like Mount Washington, you can see maybe like a fraction of an inch there on Mount Washington. But other than that, pretty much just some snow across the Rockies, which has started and it's going to be picking up here. You'll start to see several inches of snow falling here across the Rockies over the next couple of weeks. The models definitely do seem to agree on that. Now this is where it gets interesting. Now we're going to take a look at the CFS Global model here. All right, this is definitely used as more of a long-range model, so this is why I'm kind of employing it here in today's video. Now notice that low pressure system in the northeast, right? That moves. It has a pretty far track to the north. Northeast, for the most part, just gets some rain. But take a look at what happens here. And I'm going to play this out. You can already start to see a patch of snow kind of moving through the Rockies here. And as it moves to the south, yeah, look at this. We see a low pressure forming here. This is probably around Denver. And you can see across Nebraska, South Dakota, Wyoming, we're starting to see some heavy snow break out. And then boom, look at this. This looks like one of your classic October, November snowstorms here. Rain to the southeast, snow to the northwest. You can see the high pressure is parked right there, feeding that cold air in, while low pressure is here, feeding in that warm, moist air. And it clashes right along this zone between the two, and there's your snow. All right, so you got from Minneapolis all the way down through Sioux Falls and North Platte, right? Even down into Omaha, Lincoln here. So all these places starting to see some snow break out there for a little bit before kind of start to see some drier air kind of build it on the backside there. But still, even eastern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, all right, this is about 12 days out or so. So it's a while out, but it's not that far out. Right? And you can see this low kind of moves up to the north, kind of really strengthens here. And it's going to be blowing that cold air like crazy on the backside of it. So because these waters are really warm, and the lake still expect some lake effect snow here, if this model were to play out. I'm not going to say this is 100% sure yet, but if this model solution were to play out, I would be on the lookout for some lake effect snow, because how lake effect snow works is when you have those warm lakes and you have that cold air that's moving across those warm and moist lakes, that really helps to get that snow churning here. So we'll definitely have to be on the lookout for that. And then even we could even see across, look at like the southeast, for example. Again, this is a couple weeks out, but still, look at like the Smoky Mountains here in the Appalachians. Could even see some snow breaking out down there. So that's as far out as I'll go with the CFS. But do know we are on the lookout for some snowstorms here. You can see across northern plains, widespread areas of a few inches, maybe exceeding 7 inches on the CFS on their snow depth model solution here. So yeah, that is certainly a lot of snow, especially considering it's only the month of October here. And if we continue on with the CFS model, you can see here that we have some cold air from now till next week to the 22nd. You can see the 22nd to the 29th. Cold air is still parked over the east, right? Warmer air over the west. Notice how that kind of changes, right? A little bit. We still see cold air over the east, but also the north central cools down a little bit into early November, and maybe things will turn around from there. But the CFS generally, once it gets this far out, typically they just like to color the whole map in orange. I swear I haven't looked at the CFS a CFS run once and seen the map blue at the end of this, right? Like they turn the whole United States orange. So pretty much I only consider the next couple of weeks. Everything after that is kind of too far out to really hone in on at the moment. But look at the precipitation anomalies, right? As we head towards the end of the month, maybe starting to see a little bit increase in precipitation in the northeast, and with that cold air coming in at the same time, it could increase our chances for snow. So I'm giving you guys the groundwork here of things to look out for, especially over the next couple of weeks. And we're just going to end it off here with the Climate Prediction Center, taking a look at their week 3 to 4 temperature outlook, kind of the same outlook I was just showing you from October 28th to November 10th. And you can see over the east, below average temperatures looks like the norm here for the northeast down to the mid-Atlantic. That's what we're seeing here on the Climate Prediction Center website. Then you can see across the southeast, or southwest, excuse me, we do have those above average temperatures in the forecast. Precipitation, though, they actually call for below average precipitation in the northeast, but in the south central and southeast, above average precipitation. But do be aware of this, because again, this is a classic El Nino move, right? Extend the Pacific jet stream, more storm tracks along it, and these storms could be the same ones that will move up north and become nor'easters, especially over the next couple of months here as we take a look into the winter time. So definitely do be on the lookout for that. Of course, a lot of rain in the southeast could mean we'll get a lot of snow to the north if we do see a strong enough storm system to really pull that moisture into that cold air. So we'll be on the lookout for that over the next couple of weeks. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Of course, I will be keeping you guys updated. Again, being on the lookout for any major, snowstorms or any tropical developments that do happen that should be any close threat to the United States. I will be keeping an eye on and posting to you guys. So thank you guys for watching today's video. I'll keep you guys updated. I am the Weather Dude signing off till next time, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.